Hey guys, welcome back to Vince Bell Custom. So today we're going to do a work in progress video of doing some custom tweaks to this Jean Grey premium format exclusive Sideshow statue. Now, real quick, I absolutely love the statue. The quality is amazing, the sculpt, the anatomy is amazing. I love the idea that the base is not taking up the whole entire shelf. It's fairly simple, it holds her up really well. I love the idea that there is some line work on her outfit, but it's not over texturized, and it's not like all these crazy air pockets and all these extra like knee pads. And I like that it looks like she stepped out of the comic, has a little bit of extra stuff to it, but it's not overpowering. So I'm really excited with this piece, and I hope Sideshow keeps stuff like this. Simple base, really great anatomy. Keep it 90s artwork with a little bit of texture and a little bit of line work, but don't go overboard. I'm not really a fan of when you look at a statue and you can tell it's a Jean Grey 90s, but people did all this crazy textured and they added knee pads and they gave her all these boots, and I'm not really a fan of all that. I like the idea that Sideshow is going this route with that 90s because they showed off the Storm recently, and I absolutely love the Storm. So if they keep pumping out this 90s look of these X-Men characters, people are going to have some really great collections. Now with that being said, I hope Sideshow actually redoes their Dark Phoenix, because the Phoenix they did before, it was okay, but the base was like this big, and the statue was like, you know, kind of not really like evilly looking Phoenix. It was more like a little bit more playful. I think like this face here is perfect for like Dark Phoenix, because you know, if they utilize this head, like if they just take this head and make it like a Dark Phoenix statue off of that face, I would probably definitely buy it, because I think that's fine. You can actually put this statue next to a Dark Phoenix with this head, and it looks like she transitioned into the Dark Phoenix. I think Sideshow would be fine with that. I know people will be like, oh, they reused the head, but honestly, I think it would work and it would look really cool on display. But with that being said, we're going to go on to what I'm going to customize in this item. So, if you are a Jim Lee fan, or you read the X-Men book in the 90s, Dark Phoenix came before this Jean Grey outfit. And I know she did turn into the Dark Phoenix a couple times after this outfit, but I don't envision the Phoenix Force coming out of her from this outfit. It just seems a little bit weird, especially the placement up here around the neck area. That seems a little bit weird for me. If anything, it would come up from the bottom of her feet upwards. This seems like it's kind of like Naruto's transitioning into the Ninetales. Like it's like coming out of her back and then she's turning into the Dark Phoenix, and I just think these placements are weird. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop out these flames, and I'm going to seam up the neckline area, paint it blue, and I'm going to keep the head like that. So it should be fairly easy for that. Just kind of pry out those flames, patch it up, paint it blue, and boom, this head is done. So I love this head, I love this hair, I don't like the flames. Now she does come with an extra set of hands. As you can see, they have these little orange flames on them, and then she has hands that don't have the flames on them. So I'm going to take these flames though and keep them, but I'm going to match the pink at the bottom of the base. So it's going to look like she's powering up with her, you know, telekinesis from the 90s, and it's going to keep it pink. So that's what I'm going to do with that. Now, I guess they tried to do a little bit of pearl on these pads, but it seems it's still lost against here, because there seems to be a little bit of pearl in this yellow as well. And I know a lot of people said these should have been like a little bit more gold. So I'm going to paint these pads gold. I think that'll make it pop a little bit more, just to break up the outfit. And they have these two pads, one here and one in the other arm, so I'll paint those gold as well. I think I may use the Owlclad Pale Gold. I think that might work a little bit better. Or I might have to find something else, but I haven't gotten that far yet, but I'm going to make those pop a little bit more. And then for the last thing is the regular head. Now, pretty much what they did was, and let's make sure we're kind of in frame. So as you can see, this head has got the, you know, a little bit of the eyes clenched up here around the nose and eyebrow area, and she's got the open mouth. And that seems like she's getting pissed off and the Phoenix Force is coming out, which is perfect head and perfect face sculpt for a Dark Phoenix. So Sideshow, if you're listening, utilize this head for a Dark Phoenix that you could put next to her, and that would look awesome. And if you put two heads in there, or you sculpt one different and keep this head, I really don't think people would, people will cry, but I think majority of people would think it's pretty cool, because I know a lot of people love this head. Now, this regular head is awesome. I think it's really great. You know, it's very clean. They painted it beautifully. So I want to utilize and keep all this clean. I don't want to lose any of this detail. So what I'll be doing is, I think I also have to paint this gem, which is pink. I think these are different. I don't remember. I have to kind of go back to that. But we're going to pry off this hair, and I'm going to give this head a ponytail. So this head is going to have the ponytail, if you remember from the 90s, and there's a lot of action figures, and even Sideshow's first version of this Jean Grey outfit, they did do a ponytail version. So this head is going to have the ponytail. So we're going to pry off this hair, and I'm going to resculpt all that, and we're going to make the ponytail. Because if you guys don't realize, this hair and this hair is exactly the same, but this face and this face is different. So they utilize the same hair for each head. So we're going to be prying that off for that head. So that's kind of what we're doing for this item. I think those simple tweaks will make it look pretty cool. I think this statue is amazing. If you guys are X-Men fans and you want a Jean Grey, this is the Jean Grey to get. I love this Jean Grey. It's absolutely amazing. I think Mark Newman worked on this too. He's one of my favorite sculptors. So it's actually awesome. So I'm hoping Sideshow actually redoes the Dark Phoenix and utilizes this face and this head, because I think it would be just amazing. I mean, with 3D sculpting, you can take the file and you could swap it onto the next statue and you could sculpt from there. The pose I don't think would work for Dark Phoenix, but the face and head would be awesome, you know. Well, we'll see. You never know what they will do coming down the line. But with that being said, let's get into the studio. We'll pry off that hair, we'll pry off the flames, and we'll just start doing our tweaks this week if we can. Okay, so we're going to start off by popping off the hair on the regular head. Now, I'm not worried about the hair breaking at all. That's not the concern about this piece. It's more or less, we don't want any of the face to get damaged. We don't want to snap the neck in half. We want to make sure the ears are good too. So the best way to do this, as I've done it before, is to try to grab a screwdriver and sort of go behind the area, like there, and like hammer it in. Now I'm doing this inside because I don't want to do it in the garage and accidentally this head falls off the counter, falls onto the ground and the concrete, and I chip up some of that stuff. I'm going to try to be very careful with it. So you can tell this head is casted separately. The head and everything is painted, and then it's glued into the hair at the end. But if you can sort of get the screwdriver in the back of here and sort of see if we can kind of want to wiggle it a little bit, loosen it up. Their glue they use is really, really good glue. It's like an epoxy. It really stinks too if you ever really pop out the stuff. Actually, I'm actually seeing that the hair is actually, either the hair is splitting or the hair comes in pieces. I guess the hair is in pieces. That's fine. We're loosening up. We're getting there. I might have broken the hair. Yeah, it looks like I'm breaking up the hair. That's okay. I really don't care. I don't want to. Ears look pretty good. They look like they're pretty much fully sculpted in a sense. That's good because I'm bad at sculpting ears. Alright, so you can see that it was glued in, and of course the hair is all hollow. So as you can see, well, it's not all hollow, but most of it is hollow. Yeah. So this is where most of the weight was coming from both together. So there we go. That is that. So what I need to do next . See, this is a little bit tricky at this point. If I try to sort of get the screwdriver and go into here, I gotta be careful I don't might be just safer to get my Dremel and just Dremel this out instead of sitting here trying to hit it with the screwdriver and accidentally, you know, the screwdriver comes up and I hit into the eye or something like that. But I'm glad I didn't break the neck though. Breaking the neck would cause more of a problem than trying to, you know, break off this hair stuff. But yeah, hollow. So you know, sometimes these heads, you guys think that they're really heavy and they weigh a lot. Actually, they are hollow. So, like I've said in a lot of my past videos, because this is hollow, they're saving money on casting. And I guess, you know, with the whole economy and inflation and all stuff going on, it actually helps keep the cost down for everybody. But, so the idea is, yeah, this is hollow. But if 3,000 of them are hollow, you're not using up like a golf ball worth of resin, and that actually saves a lot more money. Now, I don't know if Sideshow planned that, or if the factory is doing it and they didn't tell Sideshow. I don't know if it's also part of the plan because she's a top-heavy statue with the one leg and a peg. Maybe they decided that this has to be as light as possible so it's not top-heavy and makes her lean. So there's a lot of factors going on involved. It all depends on, you know, how the factory, I guess, is building them and how Sideshow designs them. But as you can see, this hair piece is glued into here like that, and actually this hair piece here is actually glued into the side of the hair here. So this is actually casted separate. That's casted separate, and it's possible. I think that's about it. Yeah. So I think the hair comes in 3 pieces, or maybe more. Actually, this is a piece here. This is glued in. This whole section over here is glued in. This hair piece over here was glued in. And I think that's about it. It's possible it could be more, but I don't think so. So there you go. That is a hollow hair, and we have this done. So when I get a chance, I'm going to go into the garage. I'm going to kind of Dremel off this part. And what I have to do is sort of build out that head with Magic Sculpt or Extra A, sort of kind of build up the skull. And then sort of kind of cut off the part where I could start doing the hair. I'm not going to use this part for the hair. I'm going to do my own sculpt with the hair and make everything uniform. But we're going to try to keep this face as clean as possible. So if I have to put silly putty over it while I'm working on it, so be it. So that's where we're at with the head. So next step is I'm going to go grab the exclusive head and we're going to try to get the flames off of those. Alright, so here's the exclusive head, and this should be a little bit easier to pop off. You could probably just pop them off with your hands, but I kind of want to try to utilize these flames for something else down the line because they are really cool pieces and there's no sense in wasting them. So let's try and see if I could just go in there with a screwdriver first and sort of, yeah, see? Pops right out. Boom. Easy. So just a little bit of glue they dabbed on there and they glued it in. So you can see the hole that is over there. So that's actually fairly easy fix. Just kind of like, you know, get some of this extra gunk off of there. Fill that with Aves and touch it up. So let's try to do the same thing here. Now this one's a little bit trickier. Got to be careful because if you go in the wrong direction, you can actually scrape up the face. So we kind of want to see if we can go here first. This kind of looks like a better spot to kind of. This one may be a little bit trickier. Maybe have to. Maybe if I push this down. Nope. Alright, gotta plan this right without scraping anything. So let's try. Let's try making sure the face is sort of, and let's sort of kind of. Easy. Alright, so that actually broke out. I didn't actually break it with the glue, but it broke out. But we have no scrapes, no issues. So this one, what I have to do is I will have to go in there with my Dremel tool very carefully and kind of get some of this out. And like I said with the other head, their epoxies and glues are very, very potent. So if you sit there and you use a Dremel tool and you Dremel in any kind of glue or any kind of glue up there around the head or any like that stuff, be very, very careful because those fumes really start to melt and they kind of hit you in the face. So anytime I'm ever like Dremeling something, especially heads with hair, and it's got a lot of glue in there. For example, let's go to the Power Girl Premium format. When I was redoing the hair on a couple of those heads and I was trying to take out that hair, that glue was so potent when I was getting in there with the Dremel tool. It was really, really crazy. But other than that, though, I like that. Just those flames off this head right away. I love it. So yeah, so I'm just going to get a chance, get into the garage, sort of kind of clean those up. And then what we'll do is we'll grab some, probably some Fix-It Sculpt because it's a white. It's not red like the regular A's I have. And I'll kind of just fill in these areas and kind of touch it up. And then after that, we mask everything off and go from there. And like I said, I think she always had this part kind of pinkish or glowing when she used her powers. So I think what we're going to do is try to, you know, get that little diamond thing over there kind of glued up. But as far as these flame things, perfect for custom down the line. So if I ever do a character with flames, you know, for hands or on the base or something, I could utilize these so they're not wasted. Alright, so that's where we're at now. We'll come back once I got some stuff prepped up or for whatever next steps I'm thinking of, and we'll go from there. Okay, so I had a chance to get in the garage and I did Dremel out some of this parts here. So this is pretty much ready to go. This is A's Fix-It Sculpt. I usually mostly use this for hair and stuff. This container is fairly old. It's been a really hot summer. So this stuff is starting to kind of toughen up a little bit out of the bottle. It still is fairly soft. You can use it, but for some of the projects that I use, it's sort of getting to the point where it's not really working too well. So whenever I get to something where I haven't used it for a while, I start kind of using it for other things so I don't waste it. But I did order another batch for hair, but at least for this, for right now, we're ready to go. So I mixed up some. I masked her off, as you can see. Basically, I just put some old silly putty here that'll be thrown out after this, because if I get any residue on the silly putty, I don't want to keep it in there and use it for statues. So the idea right now is just kind of go around here and sort of rebuild this skull the best we can. If I do mess up the ears a little bit or anything, it's gonna happen, but we'll try to see if we can keep it clean. So the idea is whenever I'm working on her, to really be able to get in there and touch everything up and make sure things are smooth, make sure I don't mess up the face. So it's a little bit of a slow process. Now with this one, normally if this was stripped down and I was going to do from scratch, I really wouldn't worry about trying to make it smooth and perfect right away. But since this has got paint on it and we want to keep it nice and clean, I got to try to keep that smooth as possible so this way it works. Now the top of it doesn't need to be completely perfect. The size I kind of really want to get as close as possible because the top is going to get the hair sculpted anyway. So what we'll do is we'll try to see if we can go over here. So I'm probably going to have to use a lot of putty to kind of seam this up. I'll have to do some sand work. Really get in there and kind of patch this up afterwards. But for right now, let's try to get this as close as possible. Alright, so I'm just going to go over this, keep going to kind of get this cleaned up as best as I can. And then hopefully the next step, if it's good, we'll have to just sand it down and kind of tweak it up. Alright, so I got a little bit of the A's left. I went in the garage and I Dremeled out this part here. Now I didn't go crazy trying to Dremel out completely all that plastic that's in there because I'm afraid that if I try and put the Dremel tool in a certain angle, I might hit the face. So I don't want to do that. Over here it's okay, it's a little bit easier because if I mess up the hair, I can paint up the hair. That's not a problem. It's the face that I'm concerned about. So I'm going to put some silly putty over the face here like I just did before. Whatever silly putty I put on here, like I said, if I get any of the safety solvent or the Aves residue on it, that silly putty is going to be thrown away in the trash, and I have lots and lots of old silly putty, so it should be fine. There's a little bit of dust here, but it's not the end of the world. So what I'll do is I'm going to try to patch them up as best as I can. I even went and got a new paintbrush just to make sure that it's nice and clean and it goes on pretty smooth. I'll just fill in these two parts. We'll let these pieces cure up, and then what I could do is get into the garage one day, sand them down, and then we'll start buffing them up. And then at the very end, when I match up the blues, I should be able to match up this blue and to be done, ready to go. Whereas the other one, we got a lot more tweaking to do. Alright, so I'm getting ready to start kind of create the top of this headpiece here. So the way this works is you sort of have this piece that comes like right across here, kind of just drawing where it's at. So I rolled out some Aves. I'm going to kind of slice this up, I'm going to wrap this around, and sort of kind of just blend this out and get this top part here. So that's kind of where the top of the head goes. Well, it's like the head gear. So it kind of actually comes close to the front of this diamond piece here. That's on the front. So I got to get a little bit closer to that, which is a little bit fine. We'll kind of bring down this silly putty. Now the ears are probably going to have to get matched. There's nothing I can really do about that. It's not the end of the world. But yeah, so I got that down. And then basically, I've seen an action figure where actually the ponytail came here from the hair, which I'm not really feeling. Most of the time it came from the back of the piece. So I'll be Dremel a hole in here. We'll put a rod when we're ready to do the ponytail. But for right now, I want to just get this hair, you know, this headgear pretty much set up. So just gonna put this on there, set it up. I'll sand it down, and then we come back. Maybe we'll be almost ready to start working on the hair. So sort of a small update on where we're at right now. I did some of this off camera, but long story short, I took a day for myself. I think it was like Labor Day or something. I just kind of wanted to do some own personal stuff. So I worked on a bunch of other things and I started working on this. Now, what I came up with in the beginning was just completely trash. I didn't like the way it was looking. It didn't look right. It was really just very plain, and it was bothering the hell out of me. So what I did is I ripped off all the A's that I had on there still soft, and I did it again. So what I did is at first I did a nice kind of a rounded area, and I gave all these little stuff, but it still wasn't feeling right. So I decided the next day to sort of kind of get back onto it, but not have the camera in my face and really kind of think about how to work with it, because I was doing some other projects. So I figured while I was doing some other projects, what I did is I kind of drumbled out a lot of chunks of the hair I had sculpted there, and then what I did is I created these waves with some of this other apes. Now, it's still not perfect. It's still got to be like tweaked up a little bit more. Like this part over here, I'm going to have like sort of like a swoop coming up a bit, just a little bit, nothing too big. Gonna go in the garage now and sort of take this down a little bit here. I'm gonna kind of like maybe chop out a little bit underneath in here as well, just kind of clean this up a bit. Maybe I don't have to, I'm not really sure. But there's just some areas that I'm just not liking. I just gotta kind of see if I need to tweak it a little bit more. But like maybe like something in here, I kind of don't like the way this is looking like right here. So I might just go in the garage. I'm gonna kind of tone some of this down. I gotta be careful I don't snap anything. But it's getting there. It's getting the way I want it now. I'm really enjoying the flow a little bit more. Except I just realized this is coming over too much. I got to kind of take this down. But now that I got this area sort of kind of locked there a little bit, I'm going to have to tweak it. So it's just a matter of playing with it and getting to where I wanted it. I was hoping from the start I would be able to just kind of go in there and get it done, but it didn't work out that way. So right now I'm going to have to tone some of this stuff down, kind of work out some of the hair back here a little bit as well. And just kind of keep playing with it, but definitely getting a better flow of it, and I just want to stylize a little bit more. I don't want it to be like some of those other sculpted toys or some of those drawings where the hair is very short up top. I really want to make it very puffy and flowing and just have a little bit more fun with this one, just to change it up a bit. It's just one of a kind, just having some fun. So let me get in the garage. I'm going to chop this up and go from there, but we've been definitely keeping the face fairly clean. Every time I put tape on the face, what I do is I put the tape on like a towel or a shirt or something to get really a lot of lint on there to make it even softer so it stick. So this way I'm you know, making sure nothing's getting damaged, but so far we're looking good. So let me go in the garage, I get that chopped up, and then when I get a chance again, I'll kind of come back and start working out a little bit more details, and then hopefully we're almost at the point where we can start working at the ponytail. Alright, so the hair is pretty much where I want it to be. I went ahead and sanded around the edges and I cleaned them up as best as I possibly can. It's really messy. I probably won't find any errors until maybe I start doing the blue paint, which is not a big deal. I have a Citadel blue paints which are pretty close to this. So I could actually do a very, very thin layer and see if there's any sanding that needs to be done, and I can sand it down and go from there. But other than that, we're looking pretty good. What I need to do though is I got to fix this ear, and I got to fix the kind of thing behind it, because the way it was sculpted where the ear isn't really coming out and it was like a big glob of resin there. That's because of the original hair that was there. So I just gotta kind of create this little line where the ear would kind of fit into the, you know, through the mask area on both ears. I'm gonna do that now, get that out of the way. I gotta get in close to do it, so I'm not really gonna film it and everything, but by the time we come back, we're going to be starting the basic shape of the ponytail. So, I do have a little bit of a hole back here in the head, and I have this rod. So now this is just a basic round, you know, brass rod. So what I did is I actually smashed this side with a hammer to give it a flatness, because if you put a round rod in here, and if you're not careful, even if you glue it in or you use A's or Magic Sculpt, and you kind of hit it the wrong way, it'll twist on you. You want something to go in there where it really can't twist, and it'll bond pretty well. And then what I did is I used my vise, and I kind of viced and gripped it, so it gives a little bit of a grip on there. Not much, just a little bit. You can see the little bit of you know, markings on it, maybe. And then I kind of hit this end with a hammer as well. So the idea is what I'll do is when I'm ready to kind of get to working on the ponytail, is glue this in, use a little bit of Magic Sculpt, whatever. And then what I'll do is I'll grab some Magic Sculpt and I'll put it around here as a base just to get this thing all pretty much situated, and then from there I'll get A's and I'll pretty much sculpt up the ponytail. I'm not sure if I need to lower it a little bit. No, I think it's good, because I think what it is I'm gonna kind of sculpt a little bit downwards so it doesn't really hit this, and then what I might do is I might kind of sculpt this hair a little bit over it once I get the ponytail there, so this looks like it's kind of flowing over the ponytail but not connected to it. It's a little bit tricky, but I'll get it to work. And then if you can see it from this angle a little bit here, I can't get the camera down too low. I pretty much bent the rod to go back like this. So if we're looking at her hair, we'll see the rod kind of like there. So it's kind of flowing with the hair, and it's also flowing with the flame coming this way. So everything is pretty much uniform. So I'm going to go ahead and get that ear done and fixed up tonight. And then I could go back and start working on the rod and getting that done. And then basically we could go and we could paint up the two heads and patch them all up. Okay, so I had a chance to sand down around the ears and clean those up. It's still kind of hard to see if there's any kind of, like, you know, variations and stuff or divots. And I probably won't know that until maybe I add some primer or paint. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and do this ponytail. And then what I'll do is I'll try and mask off around here. And then I'll hit this with some primer. And then it'll go in there and see if I need to fix anything. It'll be the easiest way of doing it. So what I did though is I dremelled out the hole a little bit, and I didn't dremel out a perfect hole. What I did is I kind of went in little X's and I went up and down, because if you dremel out a perfect hole and you put in a rod and you put in A's, and if you put enough force on here, you can actually twist that in there. Not saying it will, but you want to be on the safe side, so always make sure stuff is kind of like jagged and stuff, so stuff grabs, like locking in position. So after I put the piece in there, what I did is I used some masking tape here, and I put masking tape around the hair like that for the correct position. I let it sit all day long while I worked on other projects. And then by the end of the night, I had a little bit of extra Magic Sculpt, and I just put it around here. So what I need to do now is mix up some Magic Sculpt, probably, and just wrap it around this piece here. Just basically, I need to do some kind of piece that bonds to this metal rod and gives me a little bit of grabbing. Because if you try and sculpt on this rod, what happens is the A starts twisting on you and it doesn't grab. So you need to have something there to kind of grab it. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to mix up some Magic Sculpt. I'm going to put it around to the edge around here, and I'm just going to let it sit. And then basically the next chance I get, maybe in a day or two, I can actually sit down and actually start sculpting the ponytail. But you can see as the flow we're getting, you know, if you're looking at the head that way, you got the ponytail going around. So things should look pretty good. So I'm going to go ahead and get this all set up, and then by the time we come back, we'll just start plugging away on the hair. And then after that, it's touch-ups and paint. Okay, so off camera, what I did is I added a little bit more strands around over in here and some back here, a little bit underneath there, just to kind of play with it a little bit more. I'm not really sure if I'm going to add any more. As of right now, I'm thinking we're pretty much done. What I need to do though is kind of get in there and clean some stuff up, fine-tune some areas off camera, and just see if there's anything I'm kind of missing. What I might do is I might put some silly putty on some areas to see if I need to kind of fill it up. But I really like the way it is. Like, if you're looking at her in this direction here, you got a nice flow to it. If you get her back there, you see the ponytail. And you can see it's flowing, it's not hitting anything. One of the concerns I had is when I did this piece underneath here, I thought maybe it was going to hit the shoulder pad, but it doesn't. So that's a good thing. So I'm just going to kind of go over with it one more time, kind of look at things, clean some stuff up. I might have to, like I said, get over in here with some primer and just kind of prime up some of these areas back here, see if there's anything that needs to be cleaned there. Same thing over in here. There's a lot of smudge over here because it was really hard to kind of get into this area. That's one of the bad things about sculpting something that's attached. If you're doing this where, you know, you're going to mass produce it and you can have this kind of cast it up separately and glue it in at the end, it's easier to kind of get in there and be able to turn this and sculpt it. But with the head being here, you can't. But it's a one-off, so you got to do what you got to do. But other than that, we're looking pretty good. I just kind of been making sure I don't mess up the face at all. Everything's looking good there. So just going to fine-tune it up, and either I'm going to come back and show you if I did add anything, or if we're just going to go straight to paint. Okay, so what I did first is I did the ears, pretty much matched up the skin tone as close as possible. I'm getting a better understanding now on how these factories mix up their colors. I noticed that they use a lot of raw siennas in their colors. They're not really like, you know, if you go to some factory skin tone stuff, they're more like tannish. They're more, not tannish, they're more, I would say orangey, skin tone, pinkish colors. But the way a lot of the factory paints it up, trying to match up Sideshow's prototypes, it got a lot more raw siennas in there. So that's kind of where I'm learning how to mix up the raw siennas to kind of match up these colors. Because the way Sideshow paints up their prototypes, if you watch their videos that they did the thing, they do a lot of washes of blues, reds, and they get those really great colors. But the factory is going to sit there and do all those washes. They're going to try to just mix up two colors. And it seems like they got a lot of raw sienna in there. So that's kind of what I'm following. And I'm kind of like learning, you know, how to kind of match up that stuff a little bit better. So after I did the ears, I masked those off and I did the blue on there. So I pretty much have blue out of the bottles that were like pretty much a spot on match to the outfit. Except I had like one or two errors around here, so I had to kind of clean those up. And then after that was done, I did the diamond on the forehead. So what I did is kind of like a pearlized, white with some pearlized magenta in there. Because whenever she powered up in this outfit, some artists drew like the powers coming out of her forehead and stuff. So that's kind of what I'm following. So I also did it with this head as well, as you can see. So you can see over there, I did it with this one as well. You know, I had to get in there and kind of clean up a little bit of errors around there and stuff. But once I got in there, it worked out pretty well. So now we got the flames off of this head and it's looking really cool. What I'm going to do is, I'm going to paint up these hairs. Now, as you can see over here on these hairs, I did a little bit of the trim. It just makes it easier for masking. But we're going to repaint both hairs. Basically, we're going to do like a nice fiery, reddish, orangey hair. Because this is just basically like a dark brown with a little bit of an orange. It's kind of blah. But we want to make it pop a little bit more. And then after all the hair is done, I think for her eyes, we're going to do some pearls on the eyes to make the eyes glow and pop a little bit more. Just to make this look like she's really powering up and she's a little bit more serious. I don't think her eyes like got pink. I think they were kind of more of a, you know, whitish, so I think that should work out pretty fine. I really like the idea of just having the white eyes on that one, and then this one right here has got the pupils, so it kind of works out, so we got a nice variation. So we're going to get this masked up, we're going to get these hairs done, and then after the hairs are done, we're going to pop out the body. Now the body, all we have to do is the legs with those paddings, And then we have her two stuff on her forearms, or on like by her biceps, which should be blue actually. They actually painted yellow, but a friend of mine says that a lot of the artwork was always blue, so we're going to do that. And then after that's done, we have a nice, like, one-of-a-kind, nice exclusive head for Jean. So let's get this painted up. We'll get out the body, we'll finish that up, and we'll see how she looks at the end. Okay guys, so we are all finished up. As you can see, her legs are painted, the hands are painted, and I did finish up the hair. Sadly, all the paint work in the camcorder that I use on the airbrush booth is not recording anymore for some reason. I thought it was the memory card, but it's actually the slot. So hopefully I could get back to recording paint work again with another camera coming up with the holidays, but at least Jean is all finished up and it's looking pretty good. So we'll get a little bit closer here for you guys. We can see the hair. I really love the way this is looking. I kind of wish Sideshow did this. I mean, you know, she was known to have the ponytail in this outfit, so instead of just doing two of the same hair, it's kind of cool to see, you know, what the ponytail would look like. And it's really not that complex, you know. You just have you could have had a basic sculpted hair up here, and you could have had some glued pieces like they usually do with hair on these parts, and then you could have had a piece that just glues into the back of the hair like that, and you could have had a nice ponytail. But it worked out pretty well. I'm pretty happy with it. You know, a little bit of tweaking. I think next time, if I was ever really to redo this, or like I said, if I was doing it for my own collection or something, I would probably repaint the whole face, because it's a little bit easier to be able to prime the whole item and get in there. But I like the way the factory painted it, and I wanted to keep it. So, you know, we did that. Now, if you look over here on her arm, you can see that little pad that's on her arm. My friend Ted told me in a lot of the older pictures that's supposed to be blue. So I painted that blue on both arms. And you can see these hands here have the basic fire that was actually painted, you know, like a magenta and stuff. So it kind of follows her, you know, build up better since we took off the flames on the head and stuff. So you can see that pad there. Now, her legs are painted like a gold. I guess in some artwork they were yellow, but in other artwork they were kind of painted like or colored gold, or a little different. So I kind of like the idea of breaking it up a little bit more. It just kind of really breaks up the character and stuff. So it worked out pretty good, but I really like the hair. I really like the way I kind of went with this. Like I said in the video, I did try to sculpt it one way in the beginning and it wasn't working, so I decided to stop trying to follow a picture online and kind of do my own take, and that's kind of really what helps me better. Trying to follow like a specific hairstyle is usually kind of hard for me, but if I could just get in there and do my own thing and just let it flow and just have fun with it, it works. So one of the important things too is you got to kind of follow the character and the way it's kind of positioned. So you can see, because the flames are going backwards, I kind of had to follow that hair and everything going that way. Plus, I also wanted to make sure that I didn't do the hair in a way where it would kind of like hinder placing her somewhere. You know, if you have the hair coming out this way, she may not fit into a case or something like that. But other than that, it worked out pretty well. So let's put on the other head, because I still like this head as well. I just did not like the flames at all. Oh, one other thing too, to let you guys know, I did actually do another head for somebody where I took off the flames, and it turns out that person's key is different from my key. So I think Jean was done in waves, or I think they were done in batches. So this key is a square, but the other key over here comes more rounded. So you got to be very careful if you were actually to buy any heads off of eBay, or if you do any swaps with friends. There is a batch of jeans that have different keys, so that is actually important to know. But like I said, I like this head a lot too. I just did not like the flames at all on it. It just did not work very well with the character, and by actually keeping everything pink now, it feels more like Jean in the 90s and stuff. So you can pretty much see by taking out those flames, it worked out pretty well. Now, it may be hard to see in the picture or in the camera. What I did is I did a interference red wash over her eyes. So in person you can see the eyes have a little bit of a reddish glow. Nothing crazy, but just a little bit. I didn't want to overdo it, and I wanted to keep them white. So that worked out pretty well as good. So, you know, the flames are gone. It looks a lot better now. It's not, you know, this weird thing where, you know, it's kind of coming out of her neck. You know, if anything, I would have liked to see in Sideshow, if they were going to make her more of a Dark Phoenix or the Phoenix power coming out, maybe make a different set of hands with bigger flames, or maybe make the hair sort of turning into flames, you know, like have some clear resin in the hair blending out to this hair. I think that would have been a better choice than to put it on the neck. Because I just felt like it was a weird placement, and it seems that the other person I did their thing for as well, as they wanted their flames taken out. And I've had other people ask me too in the past, but no one else has pulled the trigger yet. But what I was told is a couple people on Facebook and stuff have taken the flames out. But other than that, it works pretty good. But honestly, I think both heads work pretty good for her now. But I think the Ponytail one actually fits this one a little bit better. I think it looks really, really cool now. But I stylized it. I really wanted to stylize it more in my little bit of a stylized sculpting with hair. I know it's overdone. It may be a little bit longer up top, but I think it fits it better. It just gives a little bit more flow, and it worked out pretty good. Now, just to give you guys a quick idea as how I painted it, it's a mahogany base. It's got a lot of oranges and reds in there, variations. I did also add a little bit of pearlized colors in there, and then I flattened it down. So she's got a really nice shiny reddish hair. The way the factory painted it up, it was just like a very brown and a very like lighter brown red. But I wanted to make it more of a fiery red, so it might be kind of hard to see it here as well. Maybe what we could do is we can kind of pop it off a little bit, make sure I could kind of bring it into the camera correctly. So as you can kind of see, try to, you know, give it a little bit more fiery air. There's a lot of like highlights and darkers and shadows underneath and stuff, so it ran with it pretty well. So that is my little custom change up for Jean Grey. I really like the way you pulled it together. I think it looks really cool. I think Sideshow should have definitely went this route, you know, where she could have had the ponytail and the long hair, and it would have been a really great setup. So I'd like to thank you guys for watching. I appreciate it. Should probably be thrown up on eBay. Hopefully this probably might actually fund the camcorder that I need, which will actually work out pretty well. But other than that, thanks for watching, and we'll be back with some more videos.